It's not recording.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandon Marks. I'm one of the academic advisors.
And I'm Chris Mendoza. I'm also one of the academic advisors.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We want to tell you a little bit more about the academic advising department and what we do. So here's the advising department. The advising department consists of 5 full-time staff members and 7 part-time staff members who assist students based on the area of study that they're interested in. Students who come to us, we assist them with academic planning, course selection, registration, or if they just have general questions, we're happy to help anytime. Currently, we assist students through appointments so they can meet with us in person. If they make the appointment, they'll come to the welcome desk, they'll be put into the queue list system, and then we can summon them back for the in-person meeting. Or they can set up a virtual appointment, in which case we would meet with them via Zoom, Teams, or just give them a phone call to assist them. Advisors also engage in various different projects here on campus, including being a part of different committees, student onboarding, also known as new student orientation, being a part of the academic senate, assisting with the facilities engineering technology program, as well as the Guided Pathways project.
A couple other ways we participate with students is we provide mentorship and academic coaching. So as far as mentorship, we I guess the purpose is to guide it and to encourage students to be successful. So we'll guide them in any way, shape, or form we see that they need any help in. And as far as encourage, the idea will be to kind of make sure that they're independent during their time here. So we'll be there to provide any kind of support that the student might need. And with that, we'll also do some academic coaching, which is going to kind of help them improve in areas that we think they need improving. So, for example, if we see a student that's struggling with a class or finding opportunities on campus, we'll try to redirect them to the appropriate source to kind of make sure that they're getting the full benefit of their tuition, really. Empowerment, so kind of going back to encouraging and kind of guiding, we do want the students to be independent. I think as advisors, well, obviously we do more than just the scheduling and picking out classes for them, but we also just want to make sure that in their time here they're learning to kind of act independently, because wherever they go, whether it be a job or a 4-year institution, typically people don't do things for them. So, and then resource networking, kind of going back to kind of helping find any additional help that they need. If we can't answer a question for them or we're not 100% sure, we'll give them the best answer we can, but we'll always refer them to whatever department they might need. So if they need to go to financial aid, tutoring center, even encourage them to talk to faculty. I feel, valuable resource that I feel sometimes is underused.
So for health careers, we have a retention specialist, so we do then refer them to the retention specialist? Or are you taking over that leadership role, or how does that?
So, well, when students are meeting with health careers advisors, we encourage them to attend an information session. And then retention specialist is another resource that we can send students to if they have questions, if they're struggling with their classes. We have one for business and technology as well. She's doing an amazing job with reaching out to students and making sure that they're making the connections to the resources that they need.
Okay, all right, good, because it sounded like there was maybe some overlap between what you're doing and what the retention specialists are doing, and I think that's good, as long as everyone's interfacing and working together.
Absolutely.
It's slightly different though when it comes to the health careers, because many times the students our advisors see are the students that's trying to get into the program, versus with Melanie as the retention specialist, she sees students who are already in the program. So normally once they're in the program, they don't see advisors as much unless it's something specific to graduation general question. But a lot of times we see students that are trying to even get into the program, if that makes sense.
That helps, thank you.
Great distinction, thank you.
There are so many disciplines going on majoring in Triton, right? Chemistry, physics, healthcare, or plant science, or criminal justice. What source do you use to find out what all careers are available in that particular field?
So
So you-
what careers are available in the field?
Specific field. Suppose, that advisors, we heard that you advise them what career is suitable, right? What source will you use to find out what career is available in, say, forensic science?
So are you talking about the
Various
pathways?
opportunities possible.
So I think the two that immediately come to mind for me are Career Coach. So Career Coach on our website will allow students to take an assessment where, depending on the level of the assessment, it'll just basically say, based on your major, based on your interest, these are the careers that are recommended. And I think it's also done geographically, so it'll give them the best estimate of career opportunities in the state of Illinois, or at least in the Midwest. So it's not going to say, oh, computer graphics in California. It's like, well, we're not in California, we're here. So I think that's one resource. And typically what I would do with a student trying to talk a little bit more, so let's say a history major, like me, one of the first things I did when trying to figure out what to do after graduation was I went to talk to my career center. So, hey, what can I do? What resources can I do? And also talk to my faculty. I have history members or history faculty members, and what are the kind of things I can do post graduation? So it just kind of comes down to the holistic approach of the degree.
Yeah. That brings me to the next question. Saying that for last semester at least, we have been getting, we as instructors, if I can collectively say that, these opportunities are available, it comes to us from our department. Instead of that, we want to be a little bit more focused. If you send them directly to students, these are the careers available in the field of plant science.
Are you saying you as a faculty receive resources in
Yeah,
regards
and
to
then
opportunities?
we forward that to the, saying that certain positions available to positions.
Well, that would be great if that information could be shared. So if it could be shared with our advising department as well as career
Right.
services,
So
that would then help our department. Because at
Definitely.
the end of the day, our advisors are responsible for a lot of information and content. So being abreast of all career opportunities would not be realistic. But however, if it's other departments on campus that actually have these opportunities, if they can share, then we can definitely be sure to talk with our students about these opportunities. But when it comes to holistic advising, that is the part where our advisors will work with them, create connections, networking. But
Right.
we do refer to faculty because a lot of times faculty are the ones that have the hands-on or have connections to different organizations that we don't have.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
So I think that's what we were wondering, actually, why should these career opportunities or job opportunities come to us and then we send it to the students instead of, if a department like this is available, you could just directly send to these people in plant science. These are people who are there, who will be interested in this. That way, your networking also be better, saying that you can get in touch with those Franklin Park or Triton Park districts.
Yeah, I definitely think that's something we should incorporate our career service department with. So just because they have a way of managing all the different opportunities and maybe even trying to build further partnerships with Triton. So that would be great.
Right.
Thank you. So, advising is a part of the Division of Enrollment Management and Student Affairs, and we prioritize the ideas of welcome and care with our students. We want students to know that they are treated with respect. We want them to feel comfortable coming to us when they have challenges and they're seeking some guidance from our advisors as well.
Yeah, and with making them feel like they belong and treating them with the respect that they deserve, obviously, we hope to kind of become the point person for this student to kind of make sure that they always have somebody here that they can reach out to at any given time. We feel like if a student feels comfortable enough with this point person, they're most likely to reach out themselves when they're struggling, and most likely they'll kind of heed our advice where it's like, hey, show up early for registration, or hey, next semester's coming up, or let's go over your academic plan, and kind of make sure that they're more successful down the line. And just kind of going along with this again, just kind of again, trying to make sure that the students are independent. So our job here would be to make sure that we're guiding and then mentoring, but making sure that we're passing on the baton to the student. Respectfully, saying again, we're here to help you, we're your resource, we will do everything to make sure that we have every tool to be successful, but at the end of the day, you're the one sitting in the classroom, you're the one that has to apply for university or job. We're going to be here the whole length of the way, but yeah.
Excellent. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the advising milestones, the framework that we use with our students. We like to think about this framework in the context of the 2 years that it would take to complete an associate's degree, where a student is every step along the way. And we broke that down into the credit segments that would be completed at the end of each semester. So within that first semester, we want our students to be making their appointment with their advisor and meeting with them, getting to know them a little bit more and asking the questions that they would have as a new student here at Triton. We assist them with their registration for classes. We are hoping that new students, and we have new students participate in the new student orientation so that they become familiar with the different policies and procedures that we have here at Triton College. We are ensuring that students are applying for financial aid and scholarships if that is an opportunity that's available for them. And we help them explore different areas of study so that they have a great idea of what they want to do moving forward. We have students that are both transfer-oriented as well as workforce-oriented, so it's good to have those conversations with students so that they have a great idea of where they're headed. After that first semester, hopefully they finish their 15 credits, they're going into their second semester where they're finding their path. And that's where they're meeting with us more often as well, just to not only cement the pathway that they're going down, the program that they'd like to study, but also they're attending campus events and they're becoming more and more a part of the Triton College environment and the culture that we have here. We're hoping that students are connecting with the faculty members in their area so that they have people who are a part of that network that they can lean on when they need that support. The next semester, from that 31 to 45 credit mark, where we're having students really looking ahead to the future. They're coming into their final year here at Triton, and so if they were in a particular pathway before, maybe they changed their mind, maybe this is really the time where they need to have a great understanding of where they are, and so this is where it's a good idea to make sure that they're revising their academic plan with their advisor to know, what classes they need to take within the final 2 semesters here at Triton. We encourage students to work with the transfer center as well, so that if they're interested in transferring, they've identified a transfer destination, and now they can begin to plan for those last transfer requirements that they may need to have completed prior to that transfer happening, as well as visiting career services so that they can apply for different opportunities as well. And then in that final stretch, their last semester, they're reviewing their final degree audit with their advisor to make sure that they are all set to apply to graduate. They apply for graduate, and then we're also able to celebrate their accomplishments together. And in that final step there, Forever a Trojan, we know that students who graduate from Triton also give back to Triton. Many of them go on to pursue opportunities still while here at Triton College. Maybe they go on to become a faculty member, or just they contribute to Triton after they finish their journey. So they're always a part of our community. Yes.
Do you have a similar outline for certificate students that aren't going for that 2-year degree, but where you're checking in with them about their milestones?
That's a great question. I think that the ideas are still there because of the credits that we're looking for. I would say that if a student is more certificate oriented, that's where they would be a little bit more workforce oriented. So the intention may not be to transfer, but that's where we would likely encourage them to meet more with career services so that they have opportunities lined up for once they've completed their certificate program.
Do you also help the students with finding out the volunteer or internship opportunities?
I would say that if we have information that comes to us that we can share with students, we would. But that's, again, where we would direct them to career services, where that information would live primarily. And that's where they would house that information to share with students.
Well, and a lot of times as the chairperson, I get that information too and can share it with the students.
Absolutely.
That's what we were wondering, actually, why should be the chairperson, why can't they take the initiative to use it? Why can't the career service or the advising department take up that opportunity of informing the students so that that way the career service will be able to expand the network? Because a particular employer, if they are interested in having, let the employer get in touch with career services, and so that way you will be able to expand your network rather than getting in touch with the department directly.
Yeah, I usually try to include career services. I send out a blast to the students letting them know, and then I also refer the employer to career services in case they want to post it on the job board or invite them to a career fair or something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then our role in retention. So we just make sure that the student is aware of the standards of academic success, this SILT, and just basically saying that they have to pass 50% of their classes. Now this is different from the financial aid standard of academic progress, where it's 67%. And just kind of tell them like the tiers of when you're on warning, probation, dismissal, and what comes along with each one of those standards, and what's going to be required of them if they fall below the 50% mark. We also, again, a lot of it is kind of reinforcing anything that they might need. So if we feel like a student does need to go seek out tutoring, we will go ahead and do so. And usually we'll kind of get these ideas from the retention alert system, whether a student's not showing up to class or we're getting some kind of reports in that the student is struggling. This is how we're going to be able to identify what kind of needs the student has and where we can send them to. And I feel like this kind of touches back to the welcoming care. So I think the best way to retain students is to, again, make sure they feel at home. Nothing's weirder to kind of being somewhere and being very uncomfortable with your surroundings. And I feel like, just in general as an institution, if we can make sure that they're comfortable, make sure that we're providing that extra care for the students, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to feel comfortable, they're going to be happy.
I'm sorry. I've never seen an advisor respond to a retention alert, and maybe I'm just not included in that. But usually it's Daisy Duja who responds, but I wasn't even aware that you were getting those alerts. So then do you reach out to the students in your area?
We do get specific alerts as well and advising that they follow up.
Okay, yeah, it would be nice if you would include us in that so that we know that the students receiving all the support.
Sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. And just kind of finally, I think becoming a student advocate, making sure that we're not only acknowledging but also addressing any kind of concerns or anything that's really coming up with the students, and trying to, if we can't find a resolution, at least try to find an alternative for the student. Yeah.
We attended one of the counselors, right? We were there together. So the counselor, they said they also pretty much did the same thing, right? They advise the students that you were doing. So how does the career department is become the counseling?
Counseling has transitioned to mental health and wellness. And so in the past, prior to fall of 2020, counseling and advising were kind of under the same department. However, there is a distinct separation in regards to the different services that we provide. Academic advisors assist students with any and everything academic resources. Our counseling department, where it might seem like there's some overlap, is when it does come to the standards of academic progress. While our advisors work with our students for standards of academic progress, counselors work with our students who are at the end and have more severe concerns where they're at dismissal or suspension. So they will reach out to those specific students, because a lot of times once students have reached those type of standards, it's more than just an academic scenario or resource that's needed. So counselors do reach out to students to make sure that they receive any additional support or resources outside of Triton to make sure that they are well and whole to continue their courses, if that makes sense.
What you're saying is that toward the end, the career service comes, before that it's all counseling and advice.
No, they might do some career service as well, but I know within academic advising, we do provide some career services to students as needed. However, for advising, we do more of a referral, or the information we receive by attending different department meetings, advisories, that type of thing.
Well, here's an example. I had a student who lost a close family member to COVID, and they needed some grief counseling. So that was a referral to a counselor rather than to an advisor. So like mental health and wellness.
But again, understand there's a counseling, there's an advising, and there's a career. There are three
Yes.
different approaches.
Correct.
One of the things that, if I'm not mistaken, one of the counselors said was that if we were to send a student for retention, that we wouldn't get any information back afterwards, that once they contacted the student, they would work with the student, but they would not contact the instructor to let them know what's going on. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Specifically for counseling. In certain areas, so counseling and CAS, our accommodative services, they will not follow back up with the faculty to let them know what was the outcome. But outreach will be made.
Thank you. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the guided pathways cohort model. We're in the process of aligning our cohort management with the guided pathways model. We know that guided pathways is such an important college-wide initiative, and so we want to make sure that we're aligning our department goals and structures with that. The enrollment process is being streamlined to help guide students through registration. Advisors will begin to use the program maps to advise students with course selection, and then we're in the process of also reassigning advisors based on areas of study instead, and using the career coach to guide students with their program selection.
So when you're saying career coach, you're saying advisor? You're meaning advisor, or do we have career coaches?
Career coach is it's a system that we have on the website. Or
Oh.
it goes back to that assessment I was speaking about
Okay.
earlier.
So they'll answer an assessment, so questions that may align with their interests. And
Like
it-
an aptitude test?
exactly,
Yeah.
it gives them an idea of what career path might be a good fit for them.
Okay, got it.
And what we want students to know, just generally, to kind of have their goals and expectations aligned, or just kind of like, having that conversation with the student and say, okay, what is it that you're trying to pursue, whether it be a career, whether it be, I don't know, whether it be transferring, kind of having those goals aligned, just kind of setting those expectations of, okay, this is what we need to do in order to get there. Let's start. If the intention is to transfer, to attend, to go to the transfer center, which right now, I believe they have to first attend the transfer 101 before they set up an appointment with the department. But just to attend, even transfer events, if a school's here on campus and it's one that they're interested in, well, why don't you go talk to them and see what majors they have? Because sometimes, U of C sounds really nice, but if they don't have the major that you want, then either you got to pick a different major or you got to look for a different school. So attending these events are kind of like one of the first steps we tell students to do. Also reach out to career services. So whether they are either looking for a job, an internship, needing help with their resumes or cover letters or mock interviews, it's a good idea to kind of reach out to them, because again, they just have a more centralized way of doing these things. And then finally, just get involved, especially right now that we're not getting out of COVID, but that we're allowed to be more in face-to-face environments. We have a generation of students that haven't been in person for about 1.5 years. So to kind of get involved and socialize, but also kind of to network, right? Talk to people around you, see what kind of opportunities they're seeking out, and things of that matter. Those organizations, and that's good ways of building your resume. Looks good whether you want to transfer or seek a job after your degree or certificate. Yeah, just a good way to kind of decompress after classes to make sure you're socializing with your peers.
I see your Harvest Fest shirt. I had some students go over there today, and they really enjoyed it, and they appreciated the fact that they were outside with other people and not just, in our little cave over there. And so they really thought that was a nice activity. So
I would agree. I had several students, was like, oh my God, wait, this is free? And he's like, yes. And then, so they was like, oh my, this is great, thanks so much. So it's great to just be able to have, events for students to engage with others, connect with other staff and faculty on campus, as well as, to start building that sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
I don't know, is it essential on the part of the instructor, for example, that for you, you might be knowing these are the careers that's available in the field of criminal justice. Do you tell the students that these kind of fields are available for you to pursue, or rather, unless the students ask, or do you want to give them?
I try to tell everybody about different fields. I work for Chicago Police Department, but there are, FBI, DEA, things like that, where they would need a 4-year degree. So they would have to start here and get the 2-year degree, and then go on to get the 4-year degree. At some departments like Chicago, you only need the 2-year degrees or 60 hours. So you have different students looking at different things, and they're not all sure what they want to do, and they're not all sure if they want to be a police officer. They may want to get into social work or psychology or anything.
So you tell the students this?
I have to tell them that, there are more avenues for them to check. Don't close the doors on this and say no to this group and not look at this group. I mean, you have to keep everything open.
Yeah. That's a great point. I think one thing that we try to prioritize here in advising is making sure that we give students the information, and as long as they're informed, they can make informed decisions on their own. And thinking about 4-year degrees and making that transfer, I want to talk a little bit about transfer resources. So Transferology is a website that helps students determine what classes might be transferable to other institutions. And so if they're looking to transfer to a 4-year school, they can see what classes they've taken here might be transferable. iTransfer is a free website that they can use. I've seen it used to determine which courses are assigned to which IAI codes. That would be helpful in that research for that transfer. And then, of course, we have the Transfer Center. Like Chris mentioned, they're moving to have students attend either a Ready to Apply or Transfer 101 workshop prior to meeting with the transfer advisor, or talking to a transfer university representative, as well as making an academic plan with us prior to meeting with the Transfer Center advisor. Okay. And so what we'd like to impart you with is just some information about how you can connect your students with us. So as I mentioned before, we're available for appointments on our webpage. Students can schedule an appointment either virtually or in person. We also have the virtual drop-in that we do Monday through Friday. Monday through Thursday is 10 to noon and 5 to 7. Friday is 10 to noon, and students can drop in and ask questions. And we can also be reached at the advising@triton.edu email, which is monitored daily by our staff. And that's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you.